Hi, everybody. Today's CASA Conversation is with Tracey Lane. Oh, I'm Ellen Shiery, CASA volunteer and CASA board member. So Tracey is the program coordinator and also the training supervisor for Anne Arundel County CASA. She is the one who comes in and trains all of our amazing volunteers. And I'm going to ask Tracey a couple of questions because as someone who went through the CASA volunteer training, it was very impactful for me. So Tracey, would you mind sharing a little bit about how we train CASA volunteers to set aside some of their biases and their own personal opinions when they go in and when they take a case?
Absolutely. Thank you so much for doing this, and happy birthday.
Thank you.
As you know, I've been with CASA a long time, and our training has evolved over time. But part of the training that we have focused on consistently over the years is sort of asking our CASAs to look at their own biases, to try to challenge their own beliefs. And we have a series of exercises and reading to do those kinds of things. But one of the things that, we have to really look at when we're talking about working with families is not every family is going to be like yours. Not every family is going to operate the way your family does. And that doesn't mean that they're wrong. It just means that it's different. And so we have to sort of check our own biases at the door and be open to the idea that other families do things different ways and not everything is going to be the way you would want it done.
That I think that was very meaningful to me in learning about how I needed to advocate for what was in the best interest of the child, and what was in the best interest of the child wasn't necessarily what I thought the child was supposed to have. The other aspect of training that has really lived with me and become sort of a rallying cry is the inconsistency with access to mental health for kids in foster care. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Absolutely. So as you know, children in foster care often change placements for a variety of reasons. It could be their own behavior. It could be issues within the foster family themselves. So when that happens, very often everything in their lives changes, including their healthcare provider. They also are, their insurance when they're in foster care is medical assistance. And so very often within these mental health providers, they have young, sometimes interns, giving mental health services to children, and they just don't stay long. They tend to turn over a lot. And so one of the things that I've seen consistently over the years is as soon as a child has developed a therapeutic relationship with a therapist, that therapist leaves or the child has to move. So it's very frustrating for us because we know, especially with these children who are all victims of trauma, how important a trauma-informed approach to mental health is so important. So we advocate really hard that they, find a provider who is going to stick and stay, and that child really gets the full benefit of the mental health treatment.
Of all the things that I learned in our training, I think that was the most surprising. And it's been something that it makes me very emotional to think about it because, as someone who gets to decide what kind of mental health treatment I want for myself, the thought that a child who is in desperate need of someone to have, that consistent relationship with, the thought that they would have that change on a regular basis is really, it's devastating to me.
So I think that folks in the system get really used to that's just how it is. Well, there's nothing we can do. That's just how it is. And that's why having a CASA volunteer is so important for a child, because hopefully that volunteer is the one that's saying, this is nuts and this is not okay, and we have to do something different here.
Right.
Because everyone else is just going to be the status quo.
Right. Well, thank you so much. thank you for all of the hard work that you put in to this program. How long have you been with CASA now?
I joined I was in the first class of volunteers. So I started as a volunteer in 1997, so 23 years ago. And then I have been on staff, I don't remember, 17, 18 years, something like that. So
how many, you also are an active CASA volunteer.
I am not currently active. I haven't had a case in a couple of years. My last case, I had a teenage girl, and I was her CASA for 7 years. So when I wrapped up with her, I decided to take a break. But I've had a number of cases over the years. I think I've served 14 children.
Wow.
Years as a volunteer, and then many more as a supervisor.
Many more as a supervisor. So thank you so much. I really appreciate you taking the time to do this. And
I thank you for taking the time to do this. This is such a great idea, and I hope you're having fun with it, and I hope it's really like just a great birthday experience for you.
Well, as you know, CASA is one of my favorite topics. So yes, I'm having a lot of fun, and I really appreciate all of the support.
Okay, thanks, Ellen.
Thanks, Doc.